standing there thinking, okay, these people are screaming at me to open this door. Either I ignore them and they shoot me and my children run downstairs and see me laying in a pool of blood, or I open the door. At that point, my husband came down the stairs because he was upstairs, and I opened the door, and they just rushed in. There were 15 to 20 of them. They were even in the backyard with metal detectors to see if I had some kind of something buried in the backyard. They went all through the house, and they stayed from 7 to 4:45 or so, and took 32 boxes and went away. At that point, a couple of attorneys told me that, they've taken this information and they're bound to indict you. It didn't happen until 2007, and they didn't indict me. They never did unseal the order because the attorneys tried to get the information. They wouldn't unseal it. So finally, the little sheet came out saying that, we're going to go in her house and we're going to find all these felonies. I think there were 4 or 5 felonies that they said to the judge that they were going to find. So the judge gave them permission to raid us. And they didn't find any felonies because the only thing I was doing is telling people what I learned. I didn't tell people what to do. I didn't tell people to pay a tax or not to pay a tax, or to file a tax return or not.
And let's be specific. They tried to arrest a bunch of people, and I've seen them do these SWAT team raids when somebody films the police in Illinois, and they do the raid to show the jury, like, look, they're bad. We SWAT teamed them. So here they are with the lasers. These are childlike people that like to intimidate folks, trying to terrorize you. Now, did they have local SWAT team you, or was it a Department of Treasury or IRS SWAT team there to punish you, to try to scare you, or hopefully make you run so they could shoot you in the back?
That may be, but your savvy listeners are going to pick up on what I'm going to say first. I live in DeKalb County, Georgia. The first 2 people in the door, opening up my door, were 2 DeKalb County police officers. Can you say jurisdiction? Anyway, they opened the door, and then the other ones with the, I think they had IRS on their back, came in, and they just started running all over the house. I don't know what they had been told. They came in like I was some kind of a terrorist with thousands of guns. We don't even have a gun, and No,
it's part of the theater because they're so bad, they have to hyperventilate and run around like you're bad. I mean, it's all part of the bizarreness of this, but please continue.
I honestly think, when I looked into the eyes of some of those agents, that they were very surprised. Whatever they were told was very different from what they found. They found just a Christian family in a house, and they didn't find anything else, and they went away. So in 2007, I was never indicted because I was not brought up on any felony. No, I mean, it was purely intimidation. Right. Yeah. Right. They brought an information forth as opposed to an indictment. An information is what they bring forth when someone is being charged with a misdemeanor. So I was charged with misdemeanor, willful failure to file tax return. However, in order for that to be the case, I would have known that I was liable for the income tax. So since I knew that I wasn't liable, then I was never guilty. However, we have Americans that have been dumbed down to the point where either they have no clue about what's going on, they don't care, or they're in fear. I asked the question. I was not, or my attorney was not able to ask this question, but the question that I wanted to pose to the jury was, would you acquit Miss Jackson? Would you find her not guilty? How many of you, I take that back, how many of you are too afraid to acquit her for fear that you'll be next? I know in my heart that everybody in that room would have raised their hand. And so the person that has to go to court basically is lost when they first get in the door. And all because of fear. This is an empire of fear where foreign banks run us through a communist manifesto that says a graduated income tax. That's in the communist manifesto. That's in the planks. In fact, I forget which plank it is, guys. We pull up the 10 planks and I can read it to people. And it just all operates out of fear. I can't tell you how many people in the military, police, you name it, I talk to, they go, oh, we know what you're saying is right, but they'll come get us if we do anything. Look, I'm an example of being bold and God protecting me, but I've had some bad things happen. But, every time I go through the fear, God brings me to the next level. But even if I was killed tomorrow, I wouldn't be mad at God
because I understand it's all part of the larger plan. But I just don't get how we became land of the coward, home of the slaves.
We got comfortable. We got very comfortable. We started watching that thing that I call the electronic income reducer, what you might call the television.
Yes.
And for our children, the electronic intellect reducer. We started paying attention to everything that is being said in the media, and we started losing our grip on reality. We started being group thinkers as opposed to individual thinkers. And those of us that think individually are the ones that are being persecuted and prosecuted. There's a saying, I don't know who said it, so I'm not plagiarizing. When the government fears the people, there's liberty. But when the people fear the government, there's tyranny. And that's where we are. That's what I feel. I feel like we're there. The people fear the government.
And now, government, you notice, yearly gets more crazy than the year before. Let's put it up on screen. It's the second plank of the Communist Manifesto, and it says a heavy progressive or graduated income tax. That's the 16th Amendment, 1913, Social Security Act, Joint House Resolution. So there you go, and that's how they do it. Go ahead, Sherry.
The point behind it is the solution is we have got to get the people to understand that whatever life they're living and whatever they're trying to protect is not worth what's going to happen if they don't step out and at least start paying attention to what's going on. Because, a lot of people think that, well, I haven't done anything. I could never be put in prison. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. So that people, whatever they're fearful of, it doesn't matter because they're not protecting themselves. They don't understand that whatever they're doing is not protecting them. It's making them more vulnerable.
That's right. People think cowering helps them.
Yes.
And when a nation of sheep will be ruled by wolves.
Right. And that's where we're going.
And that's where we're going. And
one of the things I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget to say about guns, I know you were talking about guns and the ammunition prior to me coming on, but from what I understand, the felon can't have a gun. And this is becoming prison nation. So we have over 1 million people that have a felony. So for every home that has a felon, there's not supposed to be a gun there?
Oh, there's a lot more than 1 million felons.
Okay. So that's a way of tearing down the Second Amendment by coming in the back door.
Well, no, that's right. You're absolutely right on that front.
People don't even see that. They say, hey, all these people, millions of homes don't have guns or are not supposed to because these people have felons. Well, if you don't have your protection, it's going to be easy for anybody to come and roll over you.
All right, Sherry Peel Jackson, we're going to go to break and come back and talk to Andy and Richard and a whole bunch of others that want to talk to you. And then Joe Bannister is going to pop in a little bit with you. But before you leave, I want to spend some time on just the fact that the IRS now gives people tax ID numbers. They know are being attached to other Social Security numbers. They're being blocked from going after the illegal aliens and criminal groups, but using it, the person whose credit is clouded to grab their bank account and actually punish the citizen who's been set up for what the illegal did. I mean, so now the IRS is setting people up. And it's actually freaking out the workers, most of which are a bunch of well-meaning socialists that really think the IRS money goes to run the country. Okay, we're going to take some phone calls right now. Joe Bannister is going to pop in the next segment. There's a story up at Infowars.com. It's a big deal. And they do this so much, they plan on wearing us out. But I need to tweet this out to everybody. Paul Watson did a story on it. YouTube threatens to terminate account over criticism of copyright policy. It's worse than that, and I'm going to explain it briefly at the start of the next segment. It's my voice, and a pattern has emerged now where they're flagging videos on my channel and others saying my voice, me talking, is copyright. And I did a video about it, and they banned that video and did a community strike and are trying to shut a channel with 230 million views down. I mean, it's just incredible. And again, they advertise as a commons. It's false advertising. So I don't know what to do. Because they can shut us down here, they'll shut us down everywhere. So I'm going to have to fight this. That's all I can say. And I know they're a big monolith. I mean, it's pure NSA. Let's talk to Andy in Hawaii. You're on the air with Sherry Peel Jackson, sent to prison for telling people the IRS was a fraud. We'll get her take on Irwin Schiff, Peter Schiff's father. wrote his book, and a judge said, don't publish that book. And then he kept selling it, and they put him in jail. He's still in there. In fact, briefly, we'll go to Andy here in a minute and continue with calls. Joe's only popping in for about 5 minutes. But briefly, Sherry, what's your take on Irwin Schiff? How long is he going to be in prison?
Unfortunately, he may be in there for the rest of his life. Irwin Schiff has put together some great information, and his information is sound, and he definitely researched it. Irwin's very outspoken, and he upsets judges and other people. So they want to make an example of him as they made an example of me and some others. And Irwin's a good guy, and I just, my heart goes out for him and the others that have been put in there for long periods of time.
And we're going to talk to a man coming up who they arrested twice and tried to put in jail, former Treasury agent, for speaking out. I mean, man, they do not want this information getting covered, do they, Sherry?
No, they don't. And the more they try to suppress it, the more it gets out, especially with Aaron Russo's movie. And Joe Bannister, a great book that he put out, his trial was a little different, and his trial was one of the first of us agents. And what happened was they let the jury see his video. But by the time they got to me, they'd learned from their mistakes. So a lot of my evidence was suppressed.
Yeah, there's such a cult. They were showing videos of people talking and exposing it, and they thought, well, that's reasonable.
Right. That's what we talked to jurors after Joe. I actually flew out to Joe. Joe and I are very good friends. I flew out to his trial, and I was out in California for 2 weeks. And after the trial was over, we talked to the jury, and they were saying, "This guy's, what he's saying is reasonable, and he's a sound person." Even one of his coworkers was able to testify on his behalf concerning his character.
Well, now they're expanding a $1.2 billion snatch and grab squad at the IRS. It's just really creepy, folks. Okay, Andy, sorry, in Hawaii. Go ahead and make your point. Thanks for holding.
Hi, Alex. Longtime listener and Prisonplanet TV subscriber, first-time caller. So a big aloha from Hawaii to both of my true American heroes, you and Sherry.
Well, brother, we're not heroes. We're just trying to survive, but thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, Sherry. First of all, I want to let you know you changed my life after seeing Freedom to Fascism. That movie and your testimony in there led me into my research to, after years of, doing my research, I came to find the same thing that you found, that there is no law. And your video, your parts in Freedom to Fascism did change my life. Second, I want to tell you my story briefly. After I did some research like you did, I started signing up for the tax honesty movement, things like that. So just all the callers out there, this is so real that you got to be careful. They came at me with the club and pretty much claimed that I had owed them $40,000 when in fact I didn't. So short story, after about $10,000 in attorney's fees, they said, "Oh, sorry, Andy, you only owe us $3,900. So this is the typical stuff that I've learned from the IRS.
No. Listen. They knowingly give illegals under orders tax IDs, and then they let them use them in citizens' names, and then they come, that's the rest of the story, and take the citizen's bank account and refunds. I mean, it's not enough now. They're now using illegals to set up citizens. So this is a criminal organization that is now kicking all the useful idiots out and converting to pure mafia criminality. Because before they operated in ignorance, we got to keep the